good W. That was a good W.
You and Cap.
Yeah. That was a good.
It's almost like their athletic director. Or something.
Yeah, I think everybody here at UConn was rooting for Michigan last night. You know, I texted them when they won. They beat Ohio State. I said, "I'll see you at the championship game." And he was really nice about it. He goes, "No, you're not." So when I saw Jeter in the box, I figured that's okay. He took my spot. But it was a fun game. It's a fun game to watch. It's funny, you know. Every NCAA championship game, no matter what you watch, basketball, football, lacrosse, doesn't matter, baseball. It's just something about when that confetti starts coming down, you know, and the band is playing and everybody's on the court or on the field. It's just, you know, it's just nothing like it. It's nothing like it. It's great. It's great to watch.
Well, yes,
I want to play defense like Michigan's defense. Damn.
Geno, got an update on Aubrey?
She's got some more tests today, but I don't expect any good news. But we'll probably have something. You know, if not the end of the day, then probably tomorrow or something at some point. But I think everybody's kind of ready for the worst.
How's your spirits? Okay.
Yeah. Spirits are pretty good. You know, it's one thing about Aubrey. You know, she's always has she's got a great disposition about her, and very rarely do you see her anything other than, you know, upbeat and smile on her face. Probably hiding it, but she's doing a good job of it.
How do you get the team back? That's a pretty severe blow to and like you said, you know, going through it time after time doesn't make it any easier. How did you get them back into, you know, game mode after that?
You know, you hate to even bring, you know, this. Even I hate to just say this, but we talked to someone that's their job. You know, they study these world analytics, you know, and data. They're analytics and data people through the wazoo, and we asked them about, you know, what the trend is and what the injury situation is around the country. And the first question they asked, which I thought was interesting, was how many of these kids have had COVID? I never thought of it that way. And we said all of them. And if you look at it, this is when it all started 4 years ago. It's weird. So the flip side of that is our seniors, this is all they know. They know bubble, and they know, you know, playing somewhat shorthand. And you look around the country, and there's a lot of coaches and a lot of teams are all dealing with it. I'm sure if it was the first one ever, it would be maybe a different reaction, but I think the reaction now is, yes, you know, upset, really, really upset, and heartbroken. But maybe the resilience of these kids is something that's pretty remarkable. I don't know, but if they're feeling it, which I'm sure they are, they've learned how to put it aside and play. And that's kind of quite remarkable. I think they've handled it way better than I have most of these instances, for sure. Way more than I have.
So who have you looked to for advice, whether it's been going to your strength and conditioning team and saying, what should I be doing in practice, or talking to somebody saying, what are the trends?
Yeah.
Who have you reached out to?
Well, the only thing you can do is say, okay, well, we not doing something that we should be doing? And this is it's odd. You would say, well, what about before? This is the best, most comprehensive, thorough, technological sports science staff that we've had ever at UConn, from top to bottom. From orthopedic surgeons down to, our analytics people that sit by their computer every day and stare and try to figure things out. We've never, ever been this comprehensive in everything we do. So, and to Paige's words is, it's hard to understand life when you do everything right and things turn out wrong. She said it's really, really hard to understand that. You do everything right and things turn out wrong. So leave it to kids to put it pretty much in perspective, And you know what? Here's what I also said. I said, two things can be true at the same time, right? Two things can happen that are not mutually exclusive, right? You can feel it, and you can be devastated, and you can be heartbroken, you can be upset, and you can be all the things when you lose a teammate, a friend, or whoever, that all of a sudden you can't play. You can feel that way, and it's natural, and if you don't feel that way, then there's something wrong with you, right? But the other thing is true. And again, the kids are really good at this. It reminds you, let's be really, really, really thankful for what we do have. Right? We already know what we don't have. So how about we spend the majority of our time now being really, really thankful and appreciative of what we do have. And I'm the biggest culprit, don't get me wrong. I'm constantly, what about tomorrow? What about next week? What about next month? Hey, March. We got to get better at this. We got to get better at that. This kid, man, she's got to get better at this. She's got to be, and your thoughts are so much on next, that I think it's another reminder, hey, how about we focus on today and what we have here today? And, I think since last week, I've seen a difference in how I've approached it. I asked, and the coach just go, yeah, you've been great. Now, I lost it on the officials the other day, but they said that's okay. I'm allowed to do that.
So what do you do for a player like Aubrey for her personal future, and if she doesn't get to play again for you, and the WNBA draft's going to come up, and she'll be injured and all that?
A lot of this is up in the air. Like you don't know what the future's going to bring. It's crazy because one of the first things somebody asked me was, does she have another year? And actually, that's what Aubrey asked me after the fact. When things had settled down a little bit, and I said, yeah, believe it or not, she still gets a COVID year.
She does.
Believe it or not, and because she had the back surgery.
That's right.
And unfortunately, that was a part of the issue too with her injuries, and there's only so much you can do, when you got back issues. But yeah, so now I don't know whether she intends to, that's a decision down the road, but so it's a little bit different because they're still like this, maybe not, you never know, as opposed to, hey, it's over, you're done with, that's it. So who knows?
You said you really do have to focus on what you do have. What have you been most impressed with on the court with this team the last 7-8 games?
We've gained, I think, an identity to a certain extent, which is something we were searching for from the beginning. You try to explain to people, and all my friends in coaching said I could have told you that the minute you insert someone as overwhelming as Paige into the lineup, everybody's going to have to get used to a new way of playing. And it took some time. It took a long time, you know, a lot longer than I would have liked. And we didn't have an identity. We didn't know who we were. What are we, you know? And I think over this time, we've gained some sense of who we are, what our role is, who does what on our team, you know. You think about everybody's being taught today at a young age, you can be anything you want to be. I wish I had $1 for every graduation speech. You can be anything you want to be. It's such a crock of shit, right? You can't be anything you want to be. You're going to have to be what you need to be. This is what I need to be. Yeah, sure, we all would love to be what we want to be. It's not the way the world works. So I think on teams, that's a perfect, you know, way to explain it. Everybody's starting to understand that, or started to understand this about 7, 8 games ago. This is what I need to be for my team. This is what my team needs me to be for them. And that's not an easy thing for kids, right? And we have an identity. This is how we play. You know, you kind of has like a throwback to when, you know, a few years ago when, you know, yeah, there was a time when we were smaller and we were scrappier and we would play like underdogs all the time, and, you know, and we pushed the pace and shot a lot of threes, and, you know, so we know who we are now. Does that mean like who we are is going to be good enough to win every game the rest of the season? I don't care about that. I just like the fact that we know who we are and we know what we're good at, and we'll try to be that every night.
Geno, you mentioned the team needing to adjust to Paige being part of it again.
Yeah.
How about on the flip side, Paige readjusting to college basketball? She's been terrific.
Yeah.
The supporting cast is changing around her. She's kind of at the eye of the storm. A lot going on.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody was figuring things out almost from the beginning. You know, we're starting fresh. You know, Aaliyah, hey, I got Dorka. Oh, no, I don't. All right, so now I got to figure this one out. You know, Nika, listen, I got the ball 95% of the time. I decide who shoots it and who does. Well, now Paige comes along and goes, yeah, you know who's going to shoot it, Nika? You. I'm going to pass it to you and you shoot it. You know, and who in their right mind thought that Paige, instead of being surrounded by, you know, like last year she would have been a bunch of upperclassmen, you know, people that have played a lot of college basketball. Now she's got 2 freshmen in the starting lineup. And for her, that's a whole new experience as well, because there's so much pressure on her to have to be a lot of things. And she embraces that, don't get me wrong, you know. And I think she also understands her role as a vocal leader, which she has never been before. And don't get me wrong, she's not exactly Diana yet in that vein. But, you know, nobody is really, but she's never thought that being a vocal leader was important. I just go out there and do my thing, and I'll play, and everybody will follow my example, and we'll win. And that's not what we need from her right now. So she's been really, really, really good at that. Like, they listen to her explicitly. And she and Nika have been, you know, because when you're guards, you have the ball all the time. Anybody can say anyone about, you know, anybody can be a leader on your team. No, they can't. It's the people that have the ball on the team, in their hands all the time. So she's been a great leader. You know, she's a horrible listener. She don't listen to a goddamn thing I say, but she's been a great leader for them. Let's just put it that way.
You talk about identity. What did you like about how the team looked on Saturday in their first game without Aubrey?
Well, we didn't rebound as well as we have been the last 5 or 6 games, right? We didn't rebound as well. It took us a little bit longer, right? I thought the second quarter was kind of, and that's usually when Aubrey would be making her mark, right around that time. So yeah, that took some time. And what I liked about it is the way we came out in the third quarter. And we've, you know, when you look back at the last, whether it's been Creighton, Marquette, Louisville, it doesn't matter. Our third quarters have been really, 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 really good. And, you know, we are what we are, you know. We're not all of a sudden going to go out there and, you know, just be something that we're not. So the thing I liked the most about it was it took us a little bit of time because we shot the ball lousy in the beginning. But that's the other thing. I think back in November, if we started the game shooting poorly, it got into our heads and it really affected us. And it caused us to not guard anybody either. We just went like, felt sorry for ourselves. And now I think our identity is, it doesn't matter. Because we can make 7 of our next 10 threes and everything's right with the world again. Yeah, so it's like I'm coaching a semi-NBA team. Just close your eyes. Don't say anything about some of the stuff you see. And just be happy with the good stuff.
Is there a player who can step up and fill some of this gap? Q, for example, is something you can see a player taking the next step because they had an opportunity?
Well, it showed up a little bit against Georgetown, but I thought Isis had a really good week, you know, and I thought she did a pretty decent job against Creighton as well. So we need her to do a lot more. And Q, you know, I made fun of her the other day because Q, and I love the kid, and I'll go to war with her any day of the week. You know, most people think, what's a really good shot? Well, a really good shot is when I'm wide open. Well, Q thinks that's a great shot. She thinks the next best shot is when I'm not open. And, you know, if you're going to get one, you got to take the other one too. Why? Because she's young. Because if you tell her, do you understand the difference between a great shot, a good shot, and a bad? I don't want her thinking all that stuff. Eventually, yes, I will. But right now, I just want her to keep getting better, keep growing. I want her to have an effect defensively on our team because I know she can. She's long, she's quick, she's athletic, she's got a little toughness about her. So yeah, I want Ice to contribute more because she's skilled enough, and I want Q to become more. Are they both going to become ever any versions of Aubrey? No, they won't. I don't care how much they try. But they need to be better versions of themselves, and that'll be good enough for now.
What can Ice do for you? I mean, she isn't scoring or rebounding, but she does look really
She's a good defender. She's a good defender. She's a good defender. And believe it or not, her favorite shot is a wide open three. So we try to post her up and we throw into her in the post, and she dribbles and takes a step back three in the lane. So there's no getting away from it. You can either bang your head against the wall or just roll with it, you know. But she's skilled. She's a terrific passer. She just, you know, I don't think she's different than a whole lot of the kids. But she has a tendency to get down on herself too quickly. You know, like one bad thing and she's like, oh God, I can't. So we need to just keep reminding her it's about the next play, dude. The next one, not the one that just happened. Thankfully, you know, KK and Ash, they don't really think like that for the most part. They're oblivious. They just play. And I like for Ice to be a little more carefree and not get so down on herself when things don't go well. Because, you know, that big lineup's going to come in handy sometime, her and Aaliyah, right? I think it's going to come in handy. I'm looking forward to playing those two guys together more. I am. I'd like to see it.
Geno, did they expand on what they meant by what the connection is between COVID and the injuries? Is it weakening muscles, or?
You know, that's not the first time I heard it, but the first time I heard it in that context. Mm-hmm. So I don't know enough about it, but I would love to see what long-term effects are, because it's ironic that it's the last 4 years that all this has happened. all over the country. Never seen it to this extent before. So I don't know whether it's some kind of effect that it has. I don't know. Or maybe because that person is so smart and they're so analytic that they got to give you an answer, and that would seem like the best one. I don't know. That seemed like the best one. You know what? Isn't that what everybody's been doing though for the last 5 years? You don't have an explanation for anything? Blame it on COVID.
Well, you know, it seems to me, you know, if a team has a pattern of a lot of like hamstrings or quads or those types of injuries, you might say, well, maybe it's the way we're stretching or the way we're lifting, whatever. But joint structural injuries, you can't really.
That's the part that has just been confounding to a lot of people. Why all of a sudden it's that? You know, why all of a sudden it's that? You know, hey, they keep spraining their ankle, you know, or they keep getting, you know, calf injuries, or like you said, you know, they keep getting pull muscle here, pull muscle there, you know, these are like unexplainable. I can't explain it.
Have you been following, how closely have you been following Vanderbilt?
Oh, I just talked to Shay yesterday.
Yeah. What do you think of that at Princeton, your coaching tree?
I know. Yeah.
You're becoming like Bill Walsh.
Well, lately, I got 3 coaches on my staff that would tend to argue that point. Then, you know, unfortunately, they weren't in as good a situations as Shay and Carlo are. But, you know, sometimes you get the right people at the right place in the right time, and they are exactly what that program needs. And Shay's probably one of the brightest players we've ever had, intellectually, you know, academically, like off the charts. And I'm not surprised that at a school where that's valued to a high level, she's got kids that fit her personality. You know, she's going to get those kids. They're going to play a style that's going to be different than everybody else in the league, you know, because they can't play like everybody else in that league. And they're going to be successful in that league. How successful? I don't know. I mean, at some point, you know, it'll be a matter of, do you have enough talent? But, you know, her and Tom, her husband, they are real basketball lifers, and they're really, really, really great coaches, and I'm really thrilled for her. I really am. I just love when they contact me and go, Coach, I don't know how you do it, man. This shit is hard. Yeah, it's really, really hard. And, you know, and Carla's lived the most charmed life of any coach in the world, right? She's at a great school like Tufts, Division III. Nobody's giving her a hard time, and she just wins all the time. And then, you know, she has to slum it and, you know, give it up and go and be stuck at Princeton. You know, how the hell do you recruit to Princeton? So she's always been in places that fit exactly who she is. You know, she's not a fish out of water. She's not trying to recruit kids that she doesn't connect with. I mean, both of these guys are tremendous coaches. And, you know, last I checked, Marissa wasn't doing bad. I mean, I don't know what their deal is. That was a real tough situation for her, but I'm happy for those guys. I'm really proud of them. Wendy Davis was here, and they were 11-3, and so yeah, I like when they have a lot of success. Makes me feel really, really good.
You know, the ladies from St. Joe's have come by before, but what does it do when you get to have them in here, when you get to have women come in? What does it do for your players to get to see their excitement to be in this gym?
Yeah, Carla likes it because, I mean, Wendy likes it when she brings her team up, because she can point to them, like, talk to her team and point to us and go, see what they're doing? Like, it's not just us. Like, these, like, high school coaches, Division III coaches, Division II coaches, they come up and they watch practice, and you see their eyes, like Wendy, not because she's played here, but the kids and the coaches, their eyes get like this big. They go, they do the same dumb stuff we do. So yeah, you know the difference between your guys and our guys is they're just way better players. Every coach and every team has the same. So it was good for them because some people would think that they would come in and go, oh my God, these guys are like, they never screw up, they never make. We went like 5 minutes without getting a bucket here today. And I could see their kids over there going like, because that's probably what happens to them every day, you know? So I get a kick out. I really do. I love when high school coaches bring their teams or college coaches bring their teams. It's really fun to watch, it really is.
Geno, given that the circumstances have changed a little bit over the last several weeks and months, with Paige and maybe managing what's on her shoulders, whether it's playing time, pressure, are there creative ways to go about doing that now? And I think like at the beginning of the year, at the outset, you had some goals about managing, managing her playing time, managing, not feeling like the weight of the world.
The expectations, yeah.
And now there's just fewer people around her.
Yeah. For the most part, I think even without 100% trying, it's always in the back of my mind how many minutes I want her to play. I think the other day was 27. So if I could keep it somewhere between 25 and 30 every game, that would make me really, really happy. Not because I'm worried about her physically right now or getting hurt or anything like that. I'm just more concerned about, okay, how do we maximize you now and later and later. And I hope that I can keep that up. But as far as the expectations are concerned, we just talked about that with the team. You're never going to be able to change what the expectations are that she has for herself, what our team has for her. They look to her for so much. That's who you are. So that's your obligation in life. No way to get around it. That's it.
Are you surprised that she's handled playing the four defensively as well as she has, or did you know she has the intelligence and athleticism to do that?
Well, the thing with Paige is there's really no part of the game that she doesn't think she is going to struggle with, whether it's offensively or defensive. She took so much pride last year in the fact that, she was leading the league. She was like one of the steals leader for minutes played, and because she understands, she sees things, she knows where things are going, and she thinks she can play any position on the floor. Offensively, defensively, it doesn't matter. So that's a part of it, her confidence level, and we give her a lot of help when we can, so that's helped her an awful lot. But she's outmanned. There's nothing she can do about it. There's nothing we can do about it. It is what it is. So we're willing to trade. As long as you don't foul, we're willing to trade. Whatever your kid gets, they're gonna have to guard you at the other end. So that's the trade-off. That's it. That's the best we can do right now.
Where did you start to see it click for her, the fact that she had to be more of a vocal leader? Because I know that's something you were saying, struggled with a little bit.
Yeah. It's who Paige is as an individual. She talks a lot of crap with a lot of people, but she's very, very reluctant, has been anyway, very reluctant to be engaged one-on-one or with three people or with the entire team. This is what I want you to do. Her expectation level is, how do you not know this? And I told her, I said, just the fact that you know it and they don't, and you getting pissy because they don't know what you know, that doesn't make you a good leader by, acting like that. And you going, come on, Blue, that doesn't make you a good leader. Being a good leader is helping these three guys right here get better. And that's your obligation. And to to her defense a little bit, this is the first time, really, where she's been other than looking up to other seniors. And that she's a very deferring person. As you've seen her play, you know, all these years, that's who she is. She defers until she has to. And I think right now she's in a situation where she has to. And I'm proud of her. She's, you know, she's probably one more college year away from really, really getting it. So, it's a start.
Ashlyn and KK looked really comfortable at Georgetown, just sort of grown into those starting roles. How much of that do you attribute to sort of Paige and Nika's influence on them versus how much is just sort of who they are?
Well, I like when kids don't have a choice. You know, people say it's great to have choices in life. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. In the world that we live in right here, right now, I love when you have no choice. So when you say to KK, you have no choice but to be like this. And don't worry about anything, just play. And Ash is the most cautious individual I've ever met in my life. Even more than AZ, if you can imagine that. So getting her to step outside that guarded, cautious individual and just become free and just play without worrying about, you know, she cares too much about what I think. She's a real pleaser. So, you know, just getting them to just, you're gonna have to do this, that's all there is to it. So just stop worrying about what I think or what I'm gonna say or what I'm gonna do. Okay, when you do something dumb, don't even look over at me. You know I'm already losing my mind, so stop it. Just make the next play, make the next play, make the next play. And, you know, Jamel said that today, actually, before practice. She said, I love our three freshmen because they all bring something and they bring exactly who they are, you know? And they're fun. You know, they're fun to be around, they're fun. You can pick on them, you know? Oh, they're just comfortable, you know? I don't know if you saw it, obviously, if you watched it on TV or if you were there at the Creighton game, okay? We watch film. I swear to God, I told KK, I said, KK, I just got a text from Coach Flannery at Creighton. He wants you to speak at their banquet. I think you were the most valuable player on their team tonight. And, you know, okay, so, I was like relentless on her. Because you want them to know that this isn't the end of the world, you know? It's not life and death. You know, you missing a shot or you throwing the ball away, you know? So I just want them to have fun. The older guys, nah, this ain't about fun for them. The younger guys, I just want them to have fun.
What did you say to Ash when you walked by her Creighton and like, waved her up?
Because she just, always. And I think against Georgetown, she had her career high in steals, 1. And she had her career high in assists, 1. So when she gets like, huh?
She had 2 blocks.
Yeah, there you go. So what's Paige teaching these guys? The wrong things. Yeah, so I love to have fun with those two. With those 3 actually, Q and the other 2. I just enjoy being around them, and any chance I get to, I enjoy it. I'm having fun with them. I'm having a lot of fun with them.